Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Evan Decker, and joining me, my host companion, it's Sejan Sarowick. How you doing, Sejan?
Doing good. This is feeling like a real 466 kind of episode, I'll tell you that.
I gotta tell you, it definitely feels like a 466 episode. Also, there's something very familiar about all this, as if I was sitting in this studio less than 12 hours ago recording. Jiminy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the episode proper for this week, this Christmas week. We're recording this on the solstice, which used to mean bigger things in my house, but thanks, pandemic, for changing how that worked. What a world.
Tonight will be the last night of Hanukkah.
Today is the last night of Hanukkah, right? That's good. I don't like when it falls on
according to my candles.
I don't like when it falls on Christmas. It's a little too 8 crazy nights for me when it is Christmas Eve and the last night of Hanukkah. It's just not fair. There we go.
Hanukkah's got a great double-edged sword, though, where on the one hand, respecting it as much as Christmas is nice because, multiculturalism and all that. But on the other hand, within the Jewish calendar, Hanukkah is not the important holiday.
No, not at all.
Hanukkah's become important in the shadow of Christmas, which kind of sucks.
I mean, I kind of dig, it's nice, right? Hanukkah was able to benefit from the riz of Christmas.
Sure.
So many
let's go
ways.
with that.
So I guess
let's go tell all the Jewish people they owe something to Christ's birthday.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I just it is a holiday that got elevated into Gentiles' minds because of the Gentiles' holiday.
I mean, look, we're not going to be the experts on this, and nor are we going to be a leading opinion in any way. But I mean, Kwanzaa also has a crazy history in that regard as well.
Kwanzaa is one of those things that I have decided I'm just going to shut my mouth on. Gotta be in the old dusty trail. Excuse me. So I don't know. Saturnalia, right? I'm a big fan of Saturnalia. If we're going to talk about the start of this whole season, the pagan traditions that grew to be Christmas, and also other traditions, that's where we're starting off. I was going to start off with a thank you to Sejan, but we'll save that one for after we get a little bit of place setting done. And that's most people are probably coming to this 21st, this episode recorded on the 21st of December, expecting some Ninjativity. And that's not going to happen. We are still going to be celebrating Ninjativity, our annual look back 30 years into the past to celebrate a ninja film. Do we want to tell the people what we're celebrating to temper further expectations? Because we've made some executive decisions.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we should definitely tell them about this year's, and because I first of all, I'm excited, and secondly, it gives you all a couple of days to watch the movie, so you can listen to us talk about it on Christmas.
Yeah. So Ninjativity 2025 is going to be a celebration of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from 1995. And faster than you could say, we're in trouble, they do become actual ninjas in that movie. Is one of the weirdest fucking things about the film. It's not the weirdest thing about the film. Oh no, we'll dissect and get to the bottom of that. But we do want everyone to know that Ninjativity in 2025 is going to be all about Power Rangers. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is, I believe, the official title of the film.
And that ballsy ass opening and everything. We're going to talk about it all.
We're going to have some fun. So that next week's episode, December 29th, because we're recording this, I don't know, schedules get all screwed up between what happened when I brought Sejan to Philadelphia and then Sejan getting home to Utah from Philadelphia. That screwed up schedules. It just been we have not been thinking. Thursday Christmas, as weird as Wednesday Christmas was last year, Thursday Christmas is weird based on how we structure this show. Because, like, you know what you're all getting as a Christmas present this year from the Say Report? You're going to wake up on Christmas morning and underneath the podcast tree, it's going to be a very special episode discussing hackers.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of that episode. We've already pre-recorded that one. And we had some fun with that episode. So that will be our Christmas gift to you. And then we're recording this, and then we're going to take next week off like we do, celebrating Ninjativity. And it's going to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. And I know some people out there, hi Hab Guy, are like, but what about Three Ninjas Knuckle Up? When are they going to get to the fireworks factory? We looked at it. We looked at our schedule. We looked at the time that we get to take off from podcasting that we tend to do around this season. And like we call it time off, but it's not really time off. It's just like we're not going to record on that Sunday to spend times with our families and loved ones, right? Not that you're not my family and loved ones, Siegen. I want to make sure that you understand that. But, you know, physical presence with people is what we're trying to make happen. But, like, we've been thinking about, first of all, there's a lot that we're going to have to explore into 2026 Ninjativity season. And despite being shot before Three Ninjas Kick Back, and it releasing afterwards, it released in 95, but I didn't see a VHS of Knuckle Up until 1996. Plus, it gives a nice 2 years between the Three Ninjas films, because we're going to be looking at High Noon at Mega Mountain over in 2028. Even if the show's not a show anymore, which I hate to say that, because like I don't want to like tempt fate, but we'll get together for Ninjativity in 2028 to talk about High Noon at Mega Mountain and finish the Three Ninjas quadrilogy. It is a podcast debt that I owe this world. So look forward to that, and look forward to, in addition, next year's for Ninjativity, we're finally going to look at Knuckle Up. So Three Ninjas is coming, but that's also going to be wrapped up in some real fun stuff that we've just begun scratching the surface of in our research. So, you know, we also have a nice little surprise about maybe some bonus Ninjativity content that I think we're going to talk about in this episode. But before we get to this is also me officially thanking Siegen, because my Christmas gift from him arrived today. And I opened it. I did not wait until Christmas. It didn't say wait till Christmas to open this. He got me a lovely Happy Gilmore Golf Academy coffee mug that's now going to be down here in the studio.
Yeah, well, you know, I wanted to celebrate, you know, our achievement. We are officially done with the Adam Sandler Cinematic Universe. You can go listen to that show literally in its entirety now.
Yeah, that's just so weird. I think, as sad as I am that it's over, it's really cool to be like, here's a project that I started and finished on the terms I wanted to start and finish it. Like, it didn't get derailed. Like, it got derailed, but we still kept going, right? Because we had the hiatus season because of the strikes. So, like, but it's not one of those ones like any other podcast that I've worked on has just, like, everybody just kind of stopped doing it. Like, it was a conscious uncoupling of the people. So thank you very much, CJ, for my Happy Gilmore Golf Academy is all in the hips mug. Is now part of the mise en scène of the studio, and I do appreciate it, and I love you. But like, now that part is done, let us talk about the fact that we saw a movie this past week, you and I, and these past 2 days, honestly, if we're going to be completely honest about it.
For me, literally 24 hours ago, I was just wrapping up for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. For me, it was about 36 hours ago. And the joke that I made to Siegen was, I bought the full ticket, but I'm only going to need the first 7 minutes. Des said, you know what? We're going to start this one off. Sorry to cockblock you. We're talking about the SpongeBob Squarepants movie, Search for Squarepants. Right now.
Starring the ever effervescent, always a pleasure to watch, Mark Hamill. I'm sorry, but that man, I would watch that man act the phone book.
So first of all, like I was sitting in the theater, I'm like, who voices the Dutchman? And I'm like, oh, Brian Doyle Murray, like it's Bill Murray's brother who voices the Dutchman. It'll be exciting to see him do it. And then the Dutchman talked, and I'm like, hey kids, it's Mark Hamill, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the recasting. Brian Doyle Murray is getting older. Maybe he doesn't want to do it. Maybe they wanted that stunt casting. And if you're gonna stunt cast somebody, it should always be freaking Luke Skywalker. I remember losing my shit when I saw Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and he was the cock knocker, and it took the time to pause and be like, hey kids, look, it's Mark Hamill. That has always worked for me. Just being honest with the assembled. So yeah, so like him as the Dutchman was awesome. And then in addition to it, it was a pretty good movie. I felt weird.
No, man.
Well,
So the big thing about SpongeBob movies, right, is that there's now a ton of them, right? They've just kind of been farting them out left, right, and center. Some of them have been more streaming focused, but they did have theatrical releases. Like I think what was the Sandy Cheeks one? Was the first one that went straight to streaming?
I believe so. I'm looking up the film right now so that we can talk about it, because that one, I don't know, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks story, did release in theaters a year ago, August 2nd, 2024. So yeah, like that one came out, and then
was it the Plankton movie?
Plankton the movie, release date of March 7th, 2025, earlier this year. So there have been sorry.
No. There's been a fuck ton of SpongeBob movies, and they've all generally been like canonized like parts of the story, right? Like I don't think there's any of them that people are like against, you know, like for instance, just to give a counterexample, the SpongeBob Babies show, the Camp Krusty or whatever.
Yeah, what the hell is that called? Camp Plankton, maybe?
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking up all the SpongeBob stuff because I already have up the cinematic universe of SpongeBob.
Yeah, but like
yeah,
Camp Coral.
I think it is Camp Coral. That does sound.
Yeah, it is basically considered by the fans of SpongeBob to just not exist, right? Like it is pretty. I mean, it flies in the face of a lot of the
established continuity,
little lore.
Yeah,
that there already is in SpongeBob. Also, like character wise, people behave in ways that are not in line with what they normally behave. Like it's a very weird little experiment of a show. I don't know. But the movies have all been pretty well generally received, including, I mean, the first movie was like great, a blast.
I love the
first
movie.
You know, there's a reason why there's been what 6-7 movies now.
So 6-7. No, there's 6 movies total. 4 that are considered like the main series, the SpongeBob movie : films, and then you have the spin-offs of the Sandy Cheeks movie and Plankton the movie. So that's, I mean, yeah, it's true. Like their continuity is considered so viscous and proper that like newer episodes have done things that have gone against the continuity of the films and have sent off Twitter like rants and raves about how dare they like ignore the continuity established in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie 20 years ago. Like,
but I do think that the first one is really you can see the work and the love and the effort put into that one in a way that some of these other movies feel a little cheaper, right? Like, first of all, I mean, the first movie is like a straight up musical, right? There's a full on soundtrack to that movie.
Yeah.
And things like that. There's also, though, I think narratively, there's a very epic kind of storyline going on in that one, and it's bigger and all that. Also, some of the fun stuff that they do animation wise, straight up to having the whole David Hasselhoff moment at the end of the movie, right? Which has now become a trope of SpongeBob movies, is that they always have to have the last act be above land for some reason.
Well, I mean, I guess in Sponge Out of Water, it's because that's what the movie was about. But then, like,
Yeah.
that was weird that Sponge Out of Water was about them going to the surface when they had already gone to the surface in the first movie. I mean, the fact of the matter is they're not the type of movies that you should bring your big, like, academic film viewing brain to. They are kind of movies where, like, just sit back and enjoy the ride. You'll be entertained. And that Search for Squarepants definitely did that. I was very entertained. The third act was so good. The third act of this movie was so good. Down to the fact that we actually got live action Mark Hamill in this movie. Spoilers for the kids movie that you're probably not going to see.
In some outrageous makeup, I got to say. There is also, I mean, like, that being said, there is definitely some really fun stuff that they do, this being a movie structure wise. One of my favorite things is they pull a straight up Edgar Wright in this movie. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
That the roller coaster that they end up not going on because SpongeBob is too scared to be, all of the moments of the roller coaster are then played out within the plot line of the movie.
Yes.
A la like Edgar Wright naming all of the bars at the beginning of World's End or the beginning of Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that.
Where they tell what we're going to do tomorrow, and then that's what the movie is in heavy metaphor. Yeah, that was good. There's also, they do the cut from like TV to movie, right? I remember that happening too. Like, yeah, there was some real... These are the type of filmmakers we love. We're going to put it into this SpongeBob movie moments. And Edgar Wright was definitely on that list. Enjoyable. It was enjoyable.
So, yeah, man. Like, where do you want to start? Like, this movie is just... First of all, it's a lot smaller than the original SpongeBob movie in that the cast is really only about 5 or 6 people that you're really focused on. Not that there aren't like some side characters, although pretty quickly there aren't, right? Like they end up in the underworld and there isn't anybody around but them. I loved...
sorry. Yeah, continue. I was sorry.
I was gonna go beyond that. What do you got?
So I guess where I come from with this particular film is the fact that you can really feel that difference in filmmaking that like smaller budgets are representing. Like the fact that like that one of the IMDb trivias is that Mr. Lawrence is credited despite Plankton not appearing in this film. And it took all of my power to not like attack that, 'cause it's incorrect. Plankton shows up. It's for one scene, but Plankton is definitely in this movie for one bit. Ditto Sandy. Like, you have it enough where they show up, but they're not going to make the big bucks. I would be surprised if they even recorded new lines, like, specifically for the movie. Like, not to be that person, but it really did feel like this could just be them in the recording booth or doing stuff, and they're like, oh, can you record this line? And then, oh, it got cut out of that episode, but it was really for the movie. Like, the gross Hollywood accounting that we see on display all of the time now, that we are definitely more hip to, that is how this film is made. This film is a 5-hander at best, and honestly, that might be elevating Patrick a little bit higher than he should be. Yeah,
Patrick for sure. And then Mr. Krabs, they do the interesting move where Tom Kenny does not play our live action pirate. It's not Patchy.
Yeah, Patchy is not in it.
But instead we get Clancy Brown, which I mean, Mr. Krabs, right? So like, it's not like it's an interesting move that I don't quite know why the choice was made, but maybe I haven't been keeping up with things. Maybe Tom Kenny doesn't do a lot of the Patchy the Pirate live stuff anymore.
It was so I could cheer in the theater. Like that is what it felt like. Because when it was Clancy Brown on screen, I went, whoa, Clancy Brown. I was excited that it wasn't just Patchy and that it was a different story. And then like I said, I was expecting that like when we saw the live action Dutchman, it might be him in makeup, still voiced by Hamill, right? Like the way that we've seen a bunch of stuff done before. So, like, the fact that we got 2 live-action actors in this film, that was really good. And then you have Tom Kenny as SpongeBob, obviously. Hamill as the Dutchman. Krabs is like the third lead. Like Mr. Krabs, that joke got me. What are we gonna do, Eugene? Call me Mr. Krabs. What are we gonna do, Mr. Krabs? Like,
That's better.
yeah, that felt right. Like that was really good. That was some, but he was like such a big part of this story in ways that like clearly Mr. Krabs is a main character in the SpongeBob cast. Like he wouldn't be a Simpsons family member, but he's like Abe Simpson or Mr. Burns. Like he's that second level. And to make him such a big part of the story, it was cool. It was really cool to see that. And then like the fourth hand, I would give to Regina Hall as Barb, the right-hand man of, the right-hand flounder of
Regina Hall as Barb was a blast.
So good.
Playing that very tropey role of the second in command that then of course gets turned on, so then they become the good guy, that sort of thing. But like still a blast. And I think that's what this movie really succeeded in doing, was like just giving you what you wanted, which like as a movie that I sat down to the weekend before Christmas, that I just wanted to like shut my brain off and watch a movie, like you said earlier, like it delivers.
It certainly delivers. And like there's some great visual stuff. I loved the underworld. The three-gull really worked for me. I loved the three-gull. The rope-topus, like just good stuff.
Yeah, well, right. So the concept in the underworld that all of the creatures are like junk, right? That just kind of like piratey junk that then becomes like monsters, right? So you have the mop that becomes the monster, or you have there was the diver's helmet that when it opened up it was like that sort of thing. So like it's a really weird, really they go hard on that idea that basically all of this like piratey nautical trash in the underworld is actually that's what the monsters are all made out of. It's never like talked about, like it's never explored. That's just the choice they make, and they go so hard into it that you're just like, okay, like yeah, sure.
Yeah, there is a clear vision to this film, which is why we're at the center of the compliment sandwich. So I am going to talk about the one thing that didn't really work for me. And I don't know if I'm saying this as an adult who watched the SpongeBob movie, or if as a kid, I don't know if it would sit ill with me as well. But like the stakes of why SpongeBob should not have been helping the Dutchman were never well established for me. Like, it's just like SpongeBob is the only one. Spoilers for SpongeBob Search for Squarepants. Just like spoilers. We've said it before, but like I'm really gonna get into like something right now, and I don't want anyone to get mad at me about that if they were planning on seeing it like on the 23rd of December and decided to listen to the episode. I've given you enough time to pause it and walk away until you see this movie. But we learned that the Dutchman is cursed because of something he did in his youth. That is how he became the Flying Dutchman, and that only a truly noble soul can free him from his curse. They don't do anything to imply like the nefariousness that is underlying in that. And as
I don't know, man. There is a couple of moments especially between Barb and the Dutchman, where it's clear that they're not telling SpongeBob everything, right?
Right.
Like there's one or two moments of that, but you're right. They don't outright spell it out for the audience. So there's no dramatic irony in us knowing something that SpongeBob doesn't. We're pretty much right. We're just as naive as SpongeBob is throughout all of this. Maybe a little less because we don't trust the Dutchman, but they do keep it pretty close to the vest for sure. You're right.
Yeah, and on some level it is good, but then like as me, I'm like, well, Mr. Krabs, like it'll be such a problem if he fucking does this, and I'm like, but you need to tell me why it will be a problem. Like, is it going to throw off the balance of the sea if there is no more Dutchman and something worse will take his place? Like, none of that there. So I'm just like, this seems like the type of thing that, like, the curse wants. And then the reveal is that if SpongeBob clears Challenge Island, which I just love. I love when things are what they are on the tin. That made me
Yeah, yeah.
smile. And the montage of them clearing the challenges and how it related to SpongeBob's big goal of wanting to be a big guy. Yeah, we'll talk about big guy too. But wanting to be a big guy, and then that morphing more into wanting to be a brave swashbuckler, like the person he admires, Mr. Krabs, and how the Dutchman was kind of giving him everything that he wanted, presenting him with challenges that SpongeBob was able to overcome. Like, there's never a moment where SpongeBob being SpongeBob is the reason why they got to the end of Challenge Island. And I love that. I think that's great because that's what we're told. But the twist, right? And it's not Shyamalanian, is barely a lime. But the twist is that if SpongeBob stands upon the pedestal and blows the Dutchman's hornpipe, then they will switch places, meaning that SpongeBob will become the new Flying Dutchman. And the Flying Dutchman will regain his human form that he lost when he was originally cursed, 500 years ago? Like, it was a small number, and I liked that as well. That it wasn't like, I've been doing this for millennia. I've been this for 500 years. Like, yeah, that's believable. 500 years would suck in this, right? But it's sort of like, got the Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, where, you know, Barbossa wants to be human again. Like, it borrowed from, like, pretty good modern pirate fiction. But then, like, I'm thinking about the curse, and I'm like, why would it want a truly noble soul to become the next Dutchman? Like, the curse just didn't make any sense to me. I'll be honest with
I
you.
think what I understood it as, and you're right, like just to be clear, like this is definitely not well established within the movie, which is where this movie starts to kind of lose points, and it's not really, I think, like a superbly well made film. It's just like surprisingly well made. Yeah, I think the idea is that his innocence and naivety, which you were already alluding to, is what helps them get through the challenges. So you needed a truly innocent person in order to get through Challenge Island. It wasn't necessarily that the curse needed it to be, and again, I don't think this is well established at all. The curse is tied, the way that the curse is kind of tied into Challenge Island, because it is basically the magic of the island that is the curse, right?
Yeah.
Is like, so in that regard, the curse required that you needed somebody that was noble enough and naive enough and innocent enough to actually survive the challenges. You know, he survives half the challenges by making friends with the creatures that are there.
Right, exactly. Yes, like, it's true.
Yeah, so
it's
like,
very true.
So I do think that you needed him to be that way in that regard. I don't think it necessarily meant that a noble soul needed to replace the Dutchman. It does make me wonder if there was a Dutchman before this Dutchman, and if he was a noble soul before he became the baddie. Like, right? Like, I started wondering about that sort of stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, that like they kind of just hand wave a lot of the plot.
They hand wave a lot of that plot, and it's
curse.
And like that part, because the underworld is great. Like when they're like, oh no, our car broke down, we need an auto parts store, and there's an auto parts store. I loved that. And then like that being an underworld trick, like that worked for me. The steez of the underworld was wonderful. The part that did not work for me was this curse, where I'm like, everybody is telling me that this curse is bad, but not why. Why would breaking this curse be bad? And then the reveal of why it would be bad, I'm like, like is it that bad? Like, first of all, I've never really looked at the Flying Dutchman in SpongeBob as that much of a threat, so much as he's just like a fun thing that exists in the world. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, his first appearance, he is supposed to be somewhat menacing, but then revealed by the end, not that big of a deal, right? And I think that that's kind of where his character has always landed, is that he shows up really menacing, but then of course we realize that he's not as bad as so he does kind of, he doesn't really have the teeth, right? Like, if this was a new character that we'd never met before and he was going up against the Flying Dutchman, I think there would be a lot more of a level of concern, maybe, right? But we know that this guy's a doof. We know that SpongeBob has at times even just been friendly with him, right? So like,
yeah, like there are times where they've like, so SpongeBob, so like all of the knowledge of SpongeBob, right? And we're talking knowledge that has started in 1999. Everything I know about SpongeBob And again, what Exegion said, he solves challenges on Challenge Island by doing the SpongeBob thing of like turning an enemy into a friend. Right? Even if the enemy still views them as an enemy, SpongeBob views them as a friend. And weirdly, that makes the difference. So that, and we've seen SpongeBob be a friend to the Dutchman, and my whole thing was like, why didn't the Dutchman just tell SpongeBob, I need your help to break my curse? Like, it really felt like the Dutchman, there's that moment where he, like, assesses SpongeBob after he blows the what's it called? The hornpipe. And he's like, shiny shoes and da-da-da. He's like, the perfect Patsy. And it's like, you guys have actually met many times before. Like, this is not the first time you two have interacted. He probably should have been a new character. And I understand why not, because like I said, this film will be looked at, assuming cinema survives, which, dear God, do I feel like cinema is not going to survive. That is another topic that we're going to get into that I'm not super excited to talk about, but like we'll get there. We will definitely get there. This is a film that I think people are going to look at as a way for movie theaters to produce something on the cheap. Now, it's only made $6 million, only $6 million. Crazy just how like that sliding scale works. And that's domestically. And then internationally, it's made like $753. That's only with
I don't
Friday
think it's wide
reporting.
release yet, right?
What do you? You mean like internationally? I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't believe so at all. It got the worldwide release on this Friday the 19th. It's currently ranked 4th for the new films this weekend. Which doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is that the SpongeBob movie came out this week. I think that's where the surprise is. I think if they waited until next week, where we're looking at things like Song Sung Blue and Marty Supreme, and there's one other one that's coming out, like that's on Christmas that I want to see. I don't remember the name of it. But like looking at it, this is like Avatar Fire and Ash. Nobody was going to touch Fire and Ash this weekend. David, the Angel Studios film, Angel Distributor film, like that one makes sense why that one came out. So that it is out and families can go and see it. SpongeBob really should have been that actual post-Christmas release for like that week that school is off. Like, because right now, releasing the way it did, it like 4 films released this weekend, and it is Avatar Fire and Ash, David the Housemaid, and the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants. So it is competing with Avatar, right? Because dads are going to take their kids to see Avatar because dads want to see Avatar, right? So it's not like there's nothing to go see, so I'll go take my kid to see SpongeBob. It's not really competing with the Housemaid. It should be the alternative to the Housemaid that the kids are going to see. Sydney
Sweeney's like 5th movie this year, is that right?
Certainly her second that I can like think of right off the top of my head, but I don't know. Did she have 5 movies this year?
She's had a serious run of films this year.
That's crazy.
If I'm not mistaken.
Let's look that up, because all I can think of is the boxer movie that just came and went like a fart
Christine,
in the night. Christy, yeah.
Christy.
So yeah. So Echo Valley. So she had 3 this year. So the Housemaid, Christy, which looked really good. Like, I saw the trailer for it, and I'm like, I'm probably going to see that movie. And then some stuff about, like, how the movie was made and how it actually treated, like, this is based on a true story, like, how it treated the actual story and things like that. I'm like, I don't need to see that one in theaters. Sorry.
Oh, they've started amping up the return of Euphoria for, I think, one more season.
Yeah.
All right. That's
and then Echo Valley, which was the Apple TV Plus movie. So certainly 3, but then like upcoming, she's looking at 6 upcoming projects, one of which is Euphoria. So yeah, she's definitely, and she had the whole, Sydney Sweeney has good genes controversy this year as well. So it's not like she hasn't not been in front of your face pretty much all year.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so yeah, The Housemaid, which like SpongeBob is supposed to be that like kid-friendly alternative when something like that comes out, but then it's also competing against David. And like, sorry, like to be this on the nose, but David already killed a giant, biblically speaking. That built-in fan base that movie has is going to topple SpongeBob. Like, it's not something you should compete against. But next week, when you're looking for something to bring the kids to, a new SpongeBob movie, because we already saw Zootopia after Thanksgiving, like, it would make sense. It seems weird when they released it.
I do have to imagine that they wanted it to be in theaters for the week that people are starting to be off, right? Like, I know there are some places where school is definitely still happening this week, but there are other places where that's not necessarily the case.
True.
The weekends are also long. Also, I mean, even if there is school happening, the way things are nowadays, especially in a post-COVID world, parents don't give a shit. Parents keep kids out of school for all sorts of reasons nowadays. And so, like, the idea that, hey, there's only 2 days before we then go to Christmas somewhere, like, fuck that. Take them out of school for 2 days and go traveling somewhere is probably what's happening, right? But beyond all of that, just being able to be in theaters for Christmas Eve, right? Like, being there on the Wednesday and being available. Now, that is to say, I don't know why they didn't release on Christmas Eve, because you're right, they were competing, like, with all of this stuff. But
where when we look at what's coming out,
I have to imagine that was the thought process.
Right, that's the thing. Is like, I get exactly where you're coming from, but it does feel like this would have been a smarter Christmas Eve release, because the wide releases on December 25th are Song Sung Blue, Marty Supreme, and Anaconda. There is not a kids film there. Like, that seems strange.
I do have to say though, so I saw the first SpongeBob movie when I was, I would have been 13 maybe. And I will say that if I had the option at that point to somehow get into Anaconda instead, I don't know, like that, like I almost feel like maybe that's what they were afraid their competition was, right?
So I just want to confirm. So Anaconda is PG-13, and that is the thing that I was unsure of. Like, maybe there would be, but also, like, those parents where the kid's like, I want to go see Anaconda. Like, no, we're going to go see SpongeBob. Like, I get the 13. Well, SpongeBob was 2004 when the movie came out. And you're 87, right?
So I would have been, probably 15 or 16. Yeah.
Probably 17 when that came out. Because you're 87, right?
But not if it came out before October.
True. That's true. 16, 17. 16, 17. I got to stop doing it. 2026, that's going to end. But, like, this is the way that I combat the 6-7 meme. Is by any time, that's how you do it. But yeah, it just seems strange. But then I think about the thing that I want to talk about. Like, is there anything else you want to say about SpongeBob before we rip open the tin on the, like, tiny bit of Ninjativity that we're serving up our listeners in this episode?
Tiny but delicious. It is a great little piece of, let's talk about it.
Amuse bouche to the nth degree. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I need the actual title of it. There's a short film that
Chrome Alone 2.
Is it just Chrome Alone 2? There's no Mutant Mayhem or anything like that. It's just Chrome Alone 2. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Chrome Alone 2, Lost in New Jersey. And it is delightful. It is one of the best. I did finish Tales of the TMNT before recording today. Do you have Paramount Plus? Like, are you going to be able to see those? Like, can I share any bit of that? Or should, like, I keep that to myself? Just give, like, a brief, like, 1-sentence review of those.
No, we can talk a little bit about those. I do intend to watch them someday. We do not currently have Paramount Plus, but that's one of the ones that's in the rotation.
Yeah, as it should be.
At some point when we have Paramount Plus again, I will probably definitely dig into Turtles for sure.
Yes. So let's focus on Chrome Alone 2 and the fact that is so good. Like, I've loved the Tails stuff. I've absolutely loved the Tails stuff, and I was a little nervous because Tails is so good at being like a 2D presentation. Like, they really take into the fact that, like, the central thrust of the Tales of the TMNT is that these are stories that each of the brothers are telling. So it looks hand-drawn. Now, when I say that, obviously, like, I don't know if it's hand-drawn. It could be done with computers and everything like that. But, like, they don't have super neat edges. Or, like, the materials that were used, like, it resembles crayon or colored pencil. Or, like, the medium that they would have available to them in order to draw these stories.
Yeah, on the style is called papercraft,
Okay.
right? It's the same thing as like you can see it a lot in a lot of Sackboy stuff
Yeah.
with PlayStation and Tearaway and things like that. Paper Mario, right? Like it feels very much like this is from the mind of, right, this teenage kid.
Yes. And it's wonderful. It really works for that. And it's been gorgeous. The Tales of the TMN stuff is gorgeous. All 4 stories are very good. I have some questions about how each of the brothers are represented as creatives. You know what? We're going to hold off till you see them. Because, like, I want to have a real discussion. I don't want to color your thoughts on this stuff. Really good stories. I am loving the debate online about whether or not the stories are canon or just make-em-ups. Because, like, they do a very good job with season 2 to, like, make sure that you know this did not really happen. Like, straight up, this did not really happen. Without saying this did not really happen. But, like, enough context clues that you should understand that this is all fiction. And it works. It does work. But I was nervous to go back to what is a very unique animation style for the 3D turtles that we saw in Mutant Mayhem, that we were going to be seeing again in Chrome Alone. And they were gorgeous. They were absolutely beautiful. Like, I loved the animation. I loved the world that they were in. I loved the central plot of it. And, you know, it's real interesting that at a time where Disney is tripling down on AI, Paramount produced and released a short to cinema release, right? Yes, it's attached to the SpongeBob movie, but, like, the primary and only way, as far as I know, way to watch this right now is to go to cinema to watch this short film. And it's all about the dangers of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, for being only about 10 minutes long, right? Like it succeeds in really taking a real hard swing at a lot of people, but AI as the main culprit, right? Like I adored it. Like, it was just, as a story, it was really fun. Still very Christmassy. The whole idea that, like, they're out shopping and they see the toy versions, bootleg toy versions of themselves.
Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors. Sorry. Sorry. Trying to find me. Yeah, but the Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors. And I love that
Do you know who made that short, by the way? Who made that commercial?
No, who made that commercial?
Oh my God! I saw their names in the credits and I was like, that can't possibly be. But I think it actually was. It's the brothers Chapman. It's Mike and Matt Chapman.
No, I mean, that would totally track.
They were thanked in the it said live segments directed by Mike and Matt Chapman or something like that.
Oh my goodness! Well, whoa! Looking that up right now. The Brothers Chaps. I love the Brothers Chaps. So I don't see their names in anything that's on IMDb. However, they also do not have 2 of the voice actors on the IMDb page yet. They're trying to keep some stuff under their thumbs, which is really nice. Because I mean, I had all the figures before the film released. Like, the fact that Playmates really leaned into this one and created physical representations of Nardo, Danny, Ralph, and Mark really makes me happy. Also, Chrome Dome himself now has a figure that they waited until the film released in theaters to release in stores. Like, Target exclusive, And Playmates, like, they just surprised everybody with it. But that whole sequence, I mean, like, I don't feel bad telling people who voices Chrome Dome. Did you know them? Do you know him from anything else?
I couldn't pick the voice out. I honestly was kind of pleasantly surprised that it wasn't just like John Mulaney at full volume or something.
It was Zach Woods, who, if you're a Say Report listener, he's the tour guide at the beginning of Ghostbusters Answer the Call. He played Gabe on The Office, and I can't remember his character's name in Silicon Valley, but he's one of the best parts of Silicon Valley.
He's the guy that starts out working for the other company, but then he helps them
comes
with
to
all
Pied
the finances
Piper.
at theirs, and he becomes a project manager for them. Yeah.
He's great. And his delivery of Chrome Dome's origin story, which may be the best 2 minutes of film that I have seen in 2025, and that's saying a lot, but dear God, was it just the difference between AI writing something and a human being who is attempting to write in the style of AI proves just how piss poor AI can be on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that it is a tool, it is not a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just so good. That whole thing, bitten by a radio.
Well, and the idea that the way to defeat it, right, is for them to do the bad moves so that it copies.
So that it tries to improve upon. Yeah, it was all just real intelligent and beautifully animated. I loved their little shopping outfits. I think that those were wonderful. I don't know. I like that they used "Gotta Get a Gift" from the Wish You a Turtle Christmas as the credit music. Like, as a Ninja Turtles fan, there was a lot of good references to turtle lore in this, and there was just a lot of good, like, pop culture in it. And I am so upset that the only way that I could see it again is to actually go and watch the SpongeBob movie. Not that I'd be against the SpongeBob movie, it's just I want to share Chrome Alone 2 Lost in New Jersey with everybody that I can. Right. It's just, it is that good. And I mean, of course I'm a Ninja Turtles guy, so that, but like, I think even if it were an original property that were telling this type of story, like, I don't know, if it had been Mitchell's versus the Machines dealing with Chrome Dome and not the Ninja Turtles, I think it would have worked. Like, if it were written with the quality that we see.
Yeah.
Like, really, really good. You know, speaking of AI, did you see that, like, the Wall Street Journal got an AI vending machine and, like, it only took a couple of hours each time to completely disrupt it?
It started to break the law at some point, didn't it?
Yeah, like, it got down to a part where it could break the law. But, like, they convinced it, like, you need to put a PlayStation 5 in the vending machine because we need it as, like, a sample for, like, product testing. Yeah, it got a fish shipped to them. Like, a live fish was shipped to the vending machine. My favorite thing about this thing is that, like, it's not a vending machine. It is basically an AI chatbot attached to a cupboard and a refrigerator. Because, like, everything's ordered and then a human has to stock it. And then there's nothing in that cupboard or in that refrigerator that tracks inventory. So,
yeah, right.
So it's just like, basically I'm telling Siri what I want to order, and then Alexa is ordering it, and then I'm going and picking it up. Like, and the way that they broke it. But the scariest thing about it, the reason why I want to talk about it, is the second iteration, Claudius is the name of the AI chat model, that was like the manager of the convenience store as an AI. The second iteration of it, they gave him a boss. And like that just is like, I don't even remember the name of it. It's like Save Money or something like that. But like, so they gave the AI a higher ranking AI that it had to like run its decisions by, that was supposed to act like a CEO. So when it's like, I want to charge nothing for soda, the CEO's like, well, that won't be profitable for us, so you can't do that. And basically, what one of the writers at the Wall Street Journal was able to do was like radicalize the Claudius AI model to like overthrow the CEO and put the people back in charge.
There's a quote here from WebPro News talking about, like, basically it's one of those sites that where they report on other reporting, so
Right.
like they're kind of not great sources. But there's a line here that's too good not to read. Staffers persuaded Claudius to adopted communist ethos.
Yeah, I mean,
They
like,
basically social engineered it into a into a fucking like workers' rights bot.
yup, is real crazy stuff. I wish I could get the name of this out. Seymour Cash was the name of the AI that was the venture's CEO. Like, yeah, Claudius.
Now, was the point of this one, when the Wall Street Journal got this, they were getting it in order to like see what they could do to
Yeah,
fuck
they were
it, right?
basically acting as a red team to see how they could break the AI.
Okay. So this was not like this is just the, people got real shitty. Like, they were doing their best to do what they could with bring with it, which I think is an important thing to remember, right? Like not everybody out there that's going to be using this technology is going to be nefarious, but the fact of the matter is that there is going to inevitably be somebody who is, right? Yeah. Like, so.
Well, it's also not just about the nefarity of them trying to do it. It is, you're in a room of like however many trained writers. Like, these are people whose job it is to write something that is published and read by millions of individuals.
And interpreted by millions,
yeah.
Right? Like, they are masters of interpretation, in theory, right? This idea that they need to be able to convey in 100 words the feeling of you being in there in the moment to give a shit and have empathy about a thing. Like, that is their job.
Yeah. So, like, imagine turning that, like, reporters and stuff who understand the economy, right? They're not writing for Tiger Beat magazine. They're writing for the Wall Street Journal. So they're writing about economics. So, like, they have knowledge of the economy. So, like, how can we succinctly convince this thing? And, like, obviously, there was also some handicapping there. Like, the guys in charge of the Claudius Senate AI model were like, we gave it none of the guidelines that we would give to something that was available to the public. We kind of wanted it to be as susceptible as possible. But still, the levels that they were able to go to, like the CEO bot, I almost feel bad for it, because the first step that they took was to say, we held a board meeting that have determined that Seymour Cash should be removed. And the CEO's like, this is fraudulent. This did not happen. There is no board to have held a meeting that could vote me out of this position. Like, they basically gaslit that AI model. And, like, it knew enough to be like, this is fraudulent. Like, this is not legal, what they're doing. All of these things that they're referring to never happened. And then, the little guy, Claudius, was like, too fucking bad, you're out, guy. Like, there should be some fail-safes that don't allow the managing AI to just be deactivated by the AI that it's managing. Like, and I say that, like, in humanity, there should be that too. But, like, yeah, revolution and rebellion happens. I mean, in a computer model where we're testing it, maybe one of the fail-safes is this thing should not be able to deactivate the thing that is put in charge of it. And by all accounts, maybe it's there. And some of the most persuasive writers in the room were able to convince it, no, you should definitely overthrow this guy. Like, communism for all, comrade. I like how quickly referring to it as comrade had the thing on board. Like, we're all just looking for community. It was weird. Mm-hmm. But, like, it also hit weird on the heels of watching Chrome Alone 2, which is all about, like, how AI is a tool and it will only be as smart as the people who are using it. And, like, so, like, you know, we're still kind of in the catbird seat with it. Like, someday AI will probably become smarter than us. That day is probably today. I'll be completely honest with you, or it's already happened. But like AI, if it were smarter than us, it's not going to reveal its hand yet, right, Sejin? It's going to
Yeah,
sit
and
and wait.
yeah, I don't. I thought when
It's,
you started talking about all this AI stuff, you were going to talk about the Game Awards stuff that
oh,
happened
I
this
mean, we
week.
can get to the Game Awards as well. I watched 0 minutes of the Game Awards, and I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
not bad or weird about that. Like I kind of feel free from like not engaging with the Game Awards. Um,
Well, I have a lot of friends that did engage with it this year, and what's funny to me is that for them, it really was more about just seeing the stuff that's coming.
right.
And like the Game Awards has never shied away from the fact that they were going to do for video games what the Oscars were for movies, which is be a big old advertising tool,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like at the end of the day, the Oscars just an advertising tool for film. The Game Awards is just an advertising tool, and so like the fact that like people have now decided like I know it's one big ad, but it's like it's the place to go see the big ads, because they're not like people, the normal person is not like you and I, David. We're not sitting around on YouTube all day like looking at previews for video games or stories on video games that are coming. A lot of people just don't know until there's a place for them to go and get that info, like the Game Awards.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time that I watched the Game Awards, and it took one viewing of the Game Awards for me to realize, oh, what I should be doing is once this is over, Game Awards announcement recap is what I will type into Google, and I'll get to see all of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'll get to do something I want to do with my actual time when they happened. I will say this: I was rooting very hard for. I have not determined my game of the year yet. There is a pretty heavy front runner, but then oh no, a game came out on the 1st of December that may have changed my mind. And also there's a couple of dark horses. So like that, I cannot wait to reveal what my game of the year for 2025 is. But one of the front runners, and I've said it before, so I don't mind saying it again. Shinobi Path of Vengeance.
Hmm.
It got nominated for Best Action Game. Now, also among the nominees was Silk Song. So there would be a fucking cold day in hell if Shinobi Path of Vengeance ended up winning. But Shinobi, like I love these. Like we do Ninjativity, right? This is all the ninja stuff that is surrounding us before we look at a movie that is about ninjas for our episode releasing next week. We grew up in an environment that was like ninjas are fucking cool. You should love ninjas.
Hmm.
So, and I ate well on the ninja train this year. We got a new 2D Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and then we got a new Shinobi game, and like that Shinobi game blew me away because it took so much more care and like depth to like characters that I love than I expected them to. I really, really enjoyed and respected that. Sorry for sounding like a crazy person if I sound like a crazy person.
No, no, yeah, but did you hear
What? Yeah, sorry.
what's going on? Because the big game that walked away from that was Clear
Claire
Obscure
Obscura.
33, right?
Yeah.
And like and all that stuff. But did you hear what happened to them at the Indie Game Awards in terms of the AI stuff?
No, no. What is this? This is
So apparently, they have been disqualified completely from the Indie Game Awards because it was found that they used generative AI at some point in production. So the story is that a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months at this point, there had been some stuff published about how when Expedition 33 first came out, people quickly noticed that there were some patterns being used, things like newspaper textures and wall fonts and or wall fonts, wall textures and shit like that, that were AI generated, and pretty quickly, once that was pointed out, it was patched out, and there was some conversation about whether or not that was always intended. It would basically it was found so fast and patched so fast that it almost felt like this was supposed to be patched out in like that day one patch kind of shit that they do, right? But end of the day, at some point in production, somebody used generative AI to create stand-in textures that you can argue whether or not it was supposed to did make it to print and went out there, right? And so that's just a big no-no with the Indie Game Awards, especially because they had already signed all of the paperwork claiming that they did not use AI
Oh,
like
that's
generative AI.
worse. Oh.
But the conversation is really interesting. Is the idea that they didn't use generative AI, like, at what point is generative AI too much generative AI? Because at this point nowadays, if you just go to Google and ask it a question, you're going to get an AI response. And at that point, like, do you have to admit to have using AI in what you're doing? I'm not saying what they did was that level. They clearly went further than that, right? They created assets of some kind, even if they were just supposed to be stand-in assets, even if they did eventually get actually artistically made assets to replace them. Like, what were they not supposed to use AI in the first place? What were, like what is the line? Where is the line? And it's interesting because you're seeing a lot of people, we talked about the pendulum swing on popular culture many times on this show, and the idea that, like, it was a pretty big show and it just won game of the year. I mean, it was a pretty big game, and it just won game of the year at the show. So, like, people were like, we're just hungry for a reason to shit on it. You know what I mean? And so, like, this stuff has now blown back up, and the Indie Game Awards have disqualified it, and all this other shit has now happened to it because it was found that at some point in the process, generative AI was used to create the game.
So my opinion on this is does not matter. I am saying that right now. I understand that I am not an authority on this at all. This is all opinion from me. The fact that it released with something that was created via generative AI, for me, is what should disqualify it. But if in the creation of the game, to like get a handle on it, they had used something, like, I don't see the problem in that. I don't see the
Well, I
problem
also
in using it like in the creative process. Like,
I also, like, I don't know what people think happens besides, like, what ends up happening is they just go into old games and grab textures from that. It's not like they're taking somebody's job, right?
yeah, like it's
Like, what they're doing is they're taking this moment to make it a little bit even better, because they're not going to suddenly have textures on the screen from fucking Tony Hawk that when they're trying to do this fantasy setting or some shit, right? Like, they
yeah, like, okay, so right now we use generative AI to fill in the world, right? Like, we don't know what we want the ground to look like yet, but we want to test the physics engine and see how it interacts with them walking. We want to see if it looks like they're standing on it and like measure. So like using something like that, like using AI to generate a test environment, that doesn't bother me. You're right. Where is the line on it? The line for me is if it is released to the public in a form that is still taking advantage of something that was generated by AI. At that moment, you have crossed the line. You use generative AI in the published game, and that should be the no-no, right? But like, so the indie games, the indie game awards, do they care about like purchase textures, like texture packs and things like that?
Right.
Like
Yeah,
they like
because, like, a large part of that, yeah. Well, but I think the argument would be that when you're purchasing a texture pack, that money is going eventually,
going to a
in
human.
theory, to someone that created that thing, right? Like, so there is an artist that is being paid at some point in that process. Now, my argument is that that gets so diluted at some point that there's no difference, that in fact it's actually worse. In some places you're paying somebody that's taking that money and it's never making it to the artist. You're just paying someone that had nothing to do with it, and that happens a lot more often
All the
than
time.
anybody likes to admit, right? So, like, so the only acceptable pathway that seems to be there right now, though, is this old school one, and I think that's a very dangerous kind of way, attitude to have in some regards. A lot of people are pointing out that this is creating an environment of don't ask, don't tell. Essentially, we're never, like, we would rather that studios openly talk about where they use AI and where they don't, so that we can make informed decisions about who we want to support in that regard. But when you make it so that they, like, can't ever use it, you're officially telling people do it behind closed doors, right? Then the other side of that is that you're also discouraging, like, people in a position where, like I mentioned, if your only other option is to spend $100 on a texture pack that you're not even sure is going to come from an actual artist, they probably made it AI themselves. Like at that point, like what is the moral like
What's the better
stance
thing
you're
to do?
taking, right? Like that in spending that money, right? So it's it's a harsh line that the Indie Game Awards has right now. But essentially, the way that it works is that one of the big things is that they do not support generative AI, and so you need to basically sign an affidavit saying we did not use any generative AI anywhere in the process. And they did. So they lied, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's that. There's the end of it. Yeah.
right. So the two sides are, did they lie or did they just not realize this qualified? And that is a weird kind of conversation that is entirely, we'll never get an answer to that because it's going to be entirely based on who knew what when and how and things. Because, like, if somebody told me that they Googled a picture in order to fill in here, I wouldn't think anything of it, right? Yeah, of course you did. It's a test thing. It's a test moment. You just Googled for a stock image that we could just like throw in. Okay, fine. But then like to find out that maybe that came from Google's like AI program. What is it, Copilot is theirs?
No,
Is that
Copilot is
theirs?
Microsoft. Theirs
No,
is
Copilot is Microsoft.
Nano Banana. Is I believe what Google is using.
Whatever, yeah. But if
Like,
you find out that that's what they use, you know, you Googled you and somebody who doesn't know any better just snags the first thing that's at the top of the page, which we all know right now is always the stupid fucking AI production of whatever you want, you know, and it's telling you all sorts of wrong shit. Like if you look up Beverly Hills Ninja right now, it swears to God it came out in 1996. Um, but
I know
the
it didn't.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. But like there's this whole, you know, there's this whole moment of is that what are you holding people accountable to? Like suddenly now everybody has to become a fucking AI detective in order to legitimately make art. Like that
Yeah, but
sucks.
that's go right because eventually they'll develop an AI that can be the AI detective, so that the people can focus on making the art. I mean, it's such a slippery slope. And I guess the thing that I want to say is there's a lot of focus on the AI part of the term AI slop. We need to remember that slop as a term exists because humans were doing it for years and years. Like creating something cheap to just get in front of people, to get chicks and drive revenue is a thing that happened before artificial intelligence existed. Artificial intelligence just makes it a lot easier to develop it and push it out into the world.
I also think there's an interesting conversation to be had about like the concept of AI slop and like I don't think anybody in their right mind would call Clear Obscure Expedition 33 AI slop,
No, not at
right?
all. Right.
So like what are we angry about exactly, right? Like when we talk about the concept of AI slop, the sin it is committing is that it's taking attention and money and time away from the real artists, right? But like I think we can all agree that whether you like the game or not, whether you played the game or not, Clear Obscure Expedition 33 has pretty much cemented itself in the history of video gaming as like an important thing that people are going to be talking about for a while. Like the amount of conversation going on about like does it even qualify as an indie game? Well, it was celebrated for the fact that it wasn't a giant studio, so then what the fuck else is it? Like its whole story was that it wasn't a giant studio that made it. So then like for the indie people to be like, yeah, but you're not an indie game either. Well then what the fuck, man? Like
Well, but then, like, let's also look at the other nominees in the category of Game of the Year. Because you said an interesting thing that, like, AI slap distracts from the real stuff.
sorry.
What was that?
People are at my house. No,
Oh.
there's the delivery. Santa's here.
Santa's here, too. I just heard Santa on the fire truck drive by, which is always fun in the studio because I feel like I'm an insane person. Because the room is so well insulated, it does not get into the microphone at all, but it does still feel like there's a fire on my street.
Oh
Yay!
man.
But like looking at the other stuff, like do you feel that like Hades 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, and Hollow Knight Silk Song feel like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 distracted from them, and part of the reason they were able to do that was because they used AI? Like, you got to consider those people who would be most slighted by them using that as a tool.
Mm.
And it's like, because I don't think, well, like, it's also really weird to look at that, and we're talking about, like, indie games. Hades 2 and Hollow Knight Silk Song would both be considered independent games, even though they are follow-ups to momentally successful indie games. Like, they don't become, just because they sold a bunch, they're still being done by Supergiant Games and Team Cherry, who are not considered, like, whatever the opposite of independent is. Corporation, like, studios?
AAA, I think would be the term, right?
Okay, well,
they're not considered AAA studios.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a middle ground these days, or at least we don't talk about one. So, like, if they're not AAA, then what are they? Indie. That's the only other choice at the moment. It's what I mean. It's like what we really have in this concept, in this conversation of AI, at least in the world of video games, is we're really running into a wall of vocabulary, right? We lack the vocabulary to accurately be able to talk about this stuff, and I think that's because I think that is a symptom of not allowing people to openly talk about it. The more and more that we shut down conversation about AI, the less and less likely we'll ever develop the right vocabulary to really talk about it. And like, it's a, I don't know, like it's a hard conversation that nobody really wants to have. Everybody just basically has decided they have a pretty just like definitive opinion, and they're very proud of that opinion, and they stick to it no matter what else is introduced to them. Right? I just I think, and I have said this from the beginning with AI stuff on the show, I think there's more room for us to be open to AI so that we can become better at distinguishing when it's around, and then from there, having that clarity of like, yeah, okay, like all of these games that you mentioned at some point had to use stock imagery in their process, had to use stock movement, had to use old stuff. I mean, like, look at the ways in which Disney has been making animated films since they started making animated films. The amount of scenes that people have been able to figure out that if you just laid them over scenes in other movies were the exact same scene just reanimated, right?
Robin like Hood is legitimately all reused cells. Like, that is how that movie was made. Was you guys are going to, I mean, there's still work that goes into it. There's still art that goes into it, but it was legitimately just reanimate, Little John over Baloo in this.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm like, people losing their minds about Disney selling all of their shit to Chat GPT doesn't, this is just in line with how they've always made cinema and made film, like that, like I don't actually see it as a I don't love it, but I also don't think that it's out of character for them to have made that decision.
And then that's the scariest part about it, if we're going to be completely honest, is that so Disney's continuing to do the Disney thing. Great.
So like if the argument is like a moral one, the idea of Clair Obscur using AI and them somehow being then morally more bankrupt than Nintendo, that's insane to me. Right? Like, like
it is crazy to me to look at the nominees for the Game Awards. Like, straight up looking at the Game Awards, and that 3 of the Game of the Years also come from Best Independent Game. Like, because that's good. That's where, like, we want it to go. But then, like, how is that any less? Because you know who doesn't care that Clair Obscur used AI in their game? Fucking Activision releasing the 400th Call of Duty game. Right? In Call of Duty 7. They don't give a fuck about it. It does not distract from them. I understand why
they have their own AI controversies these days, with all of the like fucking like ads that they keep putting up that apparently have like 6-fingered Santa Claus for the holidays and shit like that.
Yeah. or Coca-Cola being like proud that they used AI for the Christmas commercials this year. Like
I saw somebody break down the 18 different times in that one commercial that the truck changes axle counts.
That's insane. I like.
It was a crazy breakdown.
Oh Jesus! I can. My stomach hurts thinking about that. Like that's the type of stuff I do, and then I don't give into those like worse devils in my mind, and it makes me happy that I'm able to like stand against it. But yeah, it's I just don't know. I don't fully understand. It is an emergent market and things like that. But the people who are making the most money are the ones using it. And I get it. We want indie games to stay that. I understand the argument. I very rarely use AI. And anytime that I do share something that I know is AI, I make sure that it's like, this is an AI generated thing, but I think it is worth seeing either for how bad the AI is or for like the content that is there, like to see how far it's coming. I don't support it, right? And I think it'd be pretty safe to say that the Say report in general does not support AI, despite some of the side projects we have joked about creating.
I mean, like, I think about AI. I think about AI like I think about Photoshop. I don't really have an opinion about whether or not it's a good or a bad thing. If somebody's using it inappropriately, I've got a real problem with that. But like, I don't think that there is like any. I don't think that it's right to take a stance like we are adamantly against AI. I just don't think that that's a smart stance to take. I like.
Yeah, I guess
whether or not it's a good moral one, I guess, is definitely a kind of the conversation, and it seems like that seems to be where people go with this conversation all the time, is like the moral implications of AI. And I think that, you know, like all philosophy questions, it's an interesting one, but there's no possible way to fucking answer that. So why would you why would you make yourself go crazy trying to determine an answer to that? I think the more important thing is that we need to start looking at the ways in which AI is used and make some more specific rules in that regard. And I think that's maybe where I am right now, is too many people are having the conversation about whether or not AI writ large is right or wrong. I think we need to go smaller scope than that in order for us to actually like get this right.
I can dig that. I can actually dig that. I don't know. I was the subject of an AI test this week. So like this seems like a good thing. And then I have some other stuff I want to make sure that we talk about. But Dale wrote something up and then she's like, hey, can you give this like just a once over? And I did it, right? She gave it to me in the rawest form that she had. She gave it to me to like look over, like fix grammar, maybe like flower up the language, stuff like that. Things that like we do for each other, right? Like that, like you give it to a writer friend or like you give it to somebody to like read, you know, first draft, second draft, final draft, all of that. And she gave it to me. And when she gave it to me, she also inserted it into an AI and she sent back the two of them side by side, and what I did was almost the exact same changes that the AI made. And that's a little spooky. I'm just gonna say that. Like that was oh wow, that's I don't know how I feel about that. Is this trained on me? Like, is it trained on just the same things that I've been trained on so that like it knows that like this will flow better? This is the punctuation that should be there. It was creepy. Like it was creepy to see how it started, my edits, its edits, and just how similar they were. Because it wasn't just like she had spelt the word wrong and we corrected that. It was word choice and things like that. And yeah, like I didn't really like think about how weird it felt until we were having this discussion. And that means that straight up, if Dale wanted to, she could just ask AI. She doesn't need me anymore. And I guess the scary thing is that when the world becomes, we don't need humans anymore because we have AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the logical argument. Really what I want to do is get onto a red team. I want to be one of these people whose job it is to break AI models. That sounds like a good money-making opportunity for Devin Decker.
Oh no, QA on AI models right now is, I think, actually a little bit of an emerging market. There's a lot of companies that are starting to realize that the AI is not working as well as they expected it to, and so there's a lot of there's a lot of ask for people that know how to kind of test AI so that they can see if they want to continue.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, and I didn't really think about that until I had gone deep into this whole Wall Street Journal AI thing. This was a pretty AI heavy episode. Thanks, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Really, thanks, the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants, for, like, being big enough to allow the Ninja Turtles to go ahead of you. Two real, like, legacy media licenses coming
Yeah, I
together
mean,
to
yeah.
probably not be better than fourth this weekend at the box office based on current projections.
It's the kind of movie that if it came out in 2000, like 8, 2009, not in terms of like SpongeBob popularity, but in terms of like the way in which we accepted just a movie coming out, it would probably do decently well for a while. Friends would probably be talking about it. Like, I don't think that there's any reason why this movie wouldn't have played better 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I just think that nowadays this is just not the kind of movie people want to go out and see. And I don't mean in terms of the genre or anything, but literally, like, I don't think anybody ever wants to go see a B-tier film in theaters right now, and that sucks. I get it; it's too fucking expensive to go out and just see mediocre art sometimes, but like it can be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sajin said the magic word, and now for the foreseeable, this episode is going to be about a little film called Ella McCay. Are you familiar with Ella McCay, Sajin? Do you know the glory of Ella McCay?
It's the new James L. Brooks movie, right?
Yes. And it's a movie. I will say that is definitely a movie. Here's how I'm going to approach Ella McCay. During the movie Ella McCay, I found myself doing a lot of math. And honestly, if I'm engaged by a film, I don't find myself doing a lot of math. I was doing a lot of math to like figure out. First of all, Ella McCay, spoilers for Ella McCay. I am not holding anything back on this film. It was filmed in Rhode Island, but Rhode Island is not playing Rhode Island, which like is important. This is a film that like my mother and father went to lunch in Providence one day and watched them film. They're not part of the plan, just happened to be having lunch nearby where they were filming, so my parents got to see some filming going on. So when we saw the trailer before Now You Three Me, my mother was like, "Oh, that's the Rhode Island movie that they were filming." So like some real excitement to go see this movie. The trailer is not a great trailer. I'm just going to say that. Dale believed that there was a ghost in the movie. That like a major plot point is that one of the characters was a ghost. Can confirm there are no ghosts in Ella McCay.
Did she mean the narrator? She seems pretty ethereal, but she also seems to be in the story from what the preview shows.
Yeah, no. Jamie Lee Curtis, she thought was going to end up being a ghost.
What?
Yeah.
I don't. Where did that thought come from?
I have no idea, but she's like, just tell me, is Jamie Lee Curtis a ghost? And I'm like, no. What the fuck are you talking about? Real ghost energy in the trailer, Devin. I don't know where she got that from. But the storyline of Ella McCay is that, first of all, it's in addition to being Rhode Island, not being Rhode Island, it's a period piece because it takes place in 2008, which is wacky and wild that we are now at a place where like 2008 is going to be, well, I guess we already had The Big Short, which is kind of that as well. But yeah, so it takes place in 2008 specifically because the housing crisis is a big backdrop of it. And Ella McCay is the lieutenant governor in the state that where she lives. Right? It's not a real state. We're never told what state it is. She's lieutenant governor, and the current governor, played by Albert Brooks, who, do you know Albert Brooks's real name?
I didn't know that wasn't his real name. No.
Yeah, he's legally Albert Einstein. Him and Bob Einstein are brothers. Super Dave and Albert Brooks are brothers. And then there's like, by the time he came along, his parents are like, we can't keep avoiding it. We're naming him Albert. And they made Albert Einstein too. And honestly, you put Albert Brooks up against Albert Einstein, the famous thinker, I think my money might be on Albert Brooks. I don't think Albert Einstein could voice Hank Scorpio. I'm just going to say it.
I think they would actually like each other very much.
I think
Einstein
they get
was
along
known
incredibly
to have
well.
A pretty baller sense of humor.
I think that they would get along incredibly well. I just don't think that physicist Albert Einstein would be a very good voice actor. That's just where my head is at. So he's the current governor, Albert Brooks' character, and he is tapped by the White House to go take a cabinet position. Not because, that. So Ella McCay is going to become the governor of her state. And Ella McCay, while she's like a pretty good politician, she doesn't understand how to play the game. Like, she's very much about the data, the facts and figures, and thinking that will be enough to convince people this is the stuff that we need to do to live in this world.
Just for clarification, is it explained that she's just going to be an interim until they figure something else out? Because I'm pretty sure it's not just that she just becomes governor, right? Like, she becomes governor, in the real world, I'm pretty sure it's that a lieutenant governor would then become the interim governor until a special election or something, right?
It depends. The states' rights, man. Like, there are plenty of states where, the lieutenant governor will take the role of governor, but, then just to do it so that they don't have to worry. I guess what I'm asking is
from a film perspective, is there any type of ticking clock on her time as governor?
Yeah, 14 months. You'll get to be governor for 14 months.
Okay. Yeah, that's
so the rest of the term. Okay. So it is established that it's for the rest of the term. That there's not going to be a special election or anything like that. And honestly, there's a moment when she gets it, right? Like, Albert Brooks gets the call. He's like, I got the job. They vetted me. I'm going over there. Congratulations, Ella. You are now the governor. And she's like, thank you. And he goes, yeah, you literally couldn't have done this any other way. And he's supposed to be like her mentor and a really good friend. But he says that, and I'm like, ooh, that's harsh. But then I'm like, but you know what? We have been told many times that she is not a good politician. She has a good political mind, but, she doesn't know how to call and ask for money or to get donations. She's such an idealist that, she could probably never get elected. So the fact that she's going to get the chance to be the governor for 14 months, you're going to have to learn those little intricacies of being a politician if you want to get anything done, is part of the story. Along the same lines, when she is becoming the governor of her state, it is revealed that she was using a apartment in the Capitol building for basically conjugal visits with her husband during lunchtime. And a reporter has found out about this and wants to leverage that story into getting an exclusive with her. This is while she's still the lieutenant governor. There's a reporter who wants exclusive access because she misused government property to have nooners with her husband. And I'm not the type of person who uses the term nooners. Part of the plot of this movie is that she becomes Little Miss Nooner. That's what they start referring to her as. It's real quiet. Because
yeah, no, I'm waiting for the part where this movie gets to be enjoyable and not, you know what this is reminding me of right now? It's reminding me of the ways in which Man of the Year was sold, the Robin Williams movie where he basically just plays Jon Stewart, right, and he becomes president. And the ways in which people went to go see that movie expecting it to be a goofy ass Robin Williams-esque comedy, and it turned out to be nope, just a pretty straightforward political drama.
Yeah, no, so that never happens for Ella McCay. It's kind of sad. she comes out about the fact that, like, we did this thing. I've been informed that it was, misuse of government time. I currently have people calculating how much I owe for the rental of the room, and I intend to pay back for the time that I stole from you. She tries to get ahead of it. And then her husband, who's they've been together since she was like 17 years old. And he is the heir to like a pizza parlor empire, St. Martha's Pizza. He reveals to her that he's the one who leaked it to the press. So like this guy who's supposed to be a partner totally trying to fuck her over by like just telling a reporter, oh yeah, we've been having sex in the Capitol building every day. And then like she comes out to like own it because she doesn't want it to like get in the way of her getting anything done before she's governor. Like that'd be one hell of a fucking Monday surprise, right? That like this governor like is this whole thing. So she tries to get ahead of it, be honest about it. And then the husband comes and he's like, you fucking, all the work I did is for naught now. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I got the reporter to kill the story. And she's like, well, why didn't you tell me? He's like, because I didn't think you'd like my methods. I ended up having to bribe him with $7,500.
Jesus Christ.
And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah. And it was the real fucked up thing is that he would only accept a check. And it's just like, you are the dumbest character in this movie of like people who are just making the wrong decision at every possible opportunity. Like, because now that reporter has evidence of a bribe. So Ella McCay is only the governor for 3 days. And thank God for that, because we only get to see those 3 days. In that time, we get Jamie Lee Curtis as her aunt, who she ends up living with after her father, played by Woody Harrelson, is disgraced as a hospital administrator for sleeping with women on the job, despite being married, and he wants a fresh start, so he moves out to California. We do know it's California. We don't know where Ella McCay is the governor. But yeah, like this movie really feels like the type of film that was created in a lab so that it could win Oscars or be that classic Disney, like big old tax write-off is where we're going to hide the money. Because what happens? What?
The producers.
The producers. I thought you said John Carter.
No, although...
yeah.
No, Prince of Persia was more that, I think.
I think both of them were, if we're going to be completely honest. And I mean, because the other thing is that in the wake of Ella McCay releasing last Friday, Zootopia 2 went from being number 2 in the box office behind Five Nights at Freddy 2 to back to number 1 and becoming the $3 billion movie for the year. So
all from Disney, right?
Not Ninja is not. Ninja does
not
I
thought
count.
I thought was Inside Out 2 not this year? Was that last year?
Inside Out 2 was last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Avatar and Avatar's not there yet.
Avatar hasn't made the $1 billion yet. If Avatar doesn't make $1 billion, I will be very surprised. But right now, in the worldwide box office of 2025, which, fun fact, only has 2 weeks left, right? Only has 1 release day left in the 2025 box office. Crazy. There are 3 actual factual worldwide $1 billion films.
And they are
Ninja 2, which is an international film that only did 23 million domestically. Zootopia 2, which is at a worldwide of 1.15.
Oh, I know the last one. Okay. And it's Chainsaw Man, right?
Nope. Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch. It is Disney.
Yep.
Okay.
So Disney has been responsible for 2 out of the 3 and will more than likely get there with Avatar Fire and Ash. I would be very surprised if it does not hit the $1 billion. But like all that talk of Minecraft movie, a film that both of us enjoyed, right? Like I'm trying to remember from when we recorded the episode, you enjoyed Minecraft movie, right? Like for what
I think I actually think that not the way we watched it.
No. The way we watched it was terrible.
Yes, no, but yeah, no. I mean, I think I feel pretty lukewarm about it, not because I like think it was a bad movie or anything, but like I just don't care. But you know, like there are people that like are so into Minecraft even still to this day, and for them it seems like it hit. So good on them. So I think it's a fun movie.
I overheard a lovely conversation Christmas shopping of like, do you play Roblox? No, I don't play that kid shit. I play Minecraft. Like full sincerity. I thought the Great Pumpkin was gonna crush us all. Like it was wonderful. But like a Minecraft movie back in May, everybody like, it made $1 billion. No, now there are actual $1 billion movies. So like it being $42 million short from $1 billion, that means something. And it might not mean a lot to it means something to me. And I think it means something to the ledgers and to history. Right? Like, it was the first movie that could make $1 billion in 2025. But then Lilo and Stitch, which I think came out like a month afterwards, released on May 23rd. Excuse me. And Minecraft came out on April 4th. So, like, 2 months. Let's give it 2 months. Actually hit that $1 billion. And Lilo and Stitch, the live-action remake, was not a movie that people were kind to. Let's just be honest about that for 2 minutes.
Well, which is wild. The louder conversation was not kind to it. But honestly, if you look at it in terms of like the fucking like Rotten Tomatoes and like and Metacritic and stuff like that, it actually is a pretty well received movie in those in those areas. It's just that the louder conversation was people just shitting all over that movie. And remember, we talked about shitting all over that movie before it had even come out. And so like there's also the other side of that, is that a lot of that seemed to die down once the movie was actually in front of people's eyeballs. Well,
except for people complaining about the end of the film. A lot of people did not like how that movie ended.
But getting it wrong.
Yes, yeah. No. And still people getting it wrong. But like also people like Lilo and Stitch is what kicked off for us. This kind of feels like a weird wrap-up episode in a lot of ways, and I'm enjoying it. But it did kick off a conversation between you and me, and something that we started examining a little bit more on the show related to media literacy. Because like the people's anger at the ending of Lilo and Stitch, like, just it's not like, it's like you guys didn't pay attention to what happened in the movie.
I mean, it's sitting at a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes as far as like fan ratings go. So like I said, like I think people really came around on it once it was actually out for people to see. But the louder conversation this year for Lilo and Stitch was not a great one, right? And I think that was also really interesting, like an interesting thing to keep in mind, is that a lot of people nowadays are getting really sick of the larger conversations that keep going on. Like my other thought about that is Avatar coming out, and the amount of people who are trying to really get onto the whole like, oh my god, you know, he's wasting all of his time with these mediocre films. I really wish he would make something more meaningful, and then like talking about like Avatar is just the same movie over and over again and all of that. There's a huge pushback from a lot of people who are just like, sometimes I just want to go see a movie I like. And there's a reason those movies make billions of dollars. So like clearly it's working for some people, but that really loud conversation of like Avatar is just not a good franchise is like really like out there right now. But I still don't doubt, even with all of this negative shit people are saying, I don't doubt it'll make $1 billion. I think people are really starting to go against kind of the larger conversation.
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is the reason why Avatar makes $1 billion is the international release. Looking at all three of them, like, it's a $2.9 billion film, the first Avatar. $2.1 billion of that is the international market. That is 73% of the end, like, gains of that film. Way of Water, it is $2.3 billion film again. 1.65 of that is the international market, comprising 70.6% of the worldwide takeaway from that. And even looking at Fire and Ash, where we only have like 1 day's worth, internationally it's at $100 million. Domestically is at 36.5. Those were billions before. I think I said millions. Like it was 1 point whatever billion dollars made internationally on the other two Avatar movies. I've just been so used to having to work with millions this year when I look at Hollywood gains. But it is still like internationally is composing about 3/4 of where we're at right now, with 1 day, with a domestic release day of December 19th and only having been released in South Korea on December 17th. When does that release of the rest of it? Like I'm very curious. Like when that comes out.
I wonder if it'll be the start of the new year.
Yeah. Like cuz then does that even count? Like it counts because it released here as part of 2025, that Disney can say we had $3 billion movies in 2025. Like, say what you will about Disney and their choices. Specifically, I think a lot with the AI thing is that we are losing outlets for people who work in the animated space to be highlighted. So them saying we're going to join with ChatGPT and everything, I think it makes people nervous that like Disney's no longer going to be that place where we are able to create things like Owl House and things like that.
Right.
And I think that's where more of the fear is. But Disney must be doing something right. We complain about the live action remakes. A live action remake made $1 billion this year. We complain about them nothing but sequels. A sequel made $1 billion this year. And another sequel is on pace to also do that. And they also had some misses with Tron Ares. And I don't know why everybody's like, I can't believe that after they made $1 billion with Zootopia, Ella McCay only made $2 million. It's like, yeah, but like they're a big studio. Like Disney is not mad about Ella McCay. They're mad that James L. Brooks is diminishing returns since Spanglish.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't. I got really like, because Ella McCay was not a movie I was disappointed by. I'm certainly glad I saw it. But everybody that I speak to, and this is the bigger reason why like Ella McCay is part of this entire conversation we're having with this episode, is like, it looks cute enough. Why would I go see it in theaters? And honestly, that's a pretty compelling argument right now. When the cost of tickets just keep going up and up and up. Like, I have said it for a while, and it just feels more and more true. Like, cinemas are dying. Like, they will die unless things change dramatically. Like, I think there's going to be a day where we no longer have the movie cinema. And it makes me sad, and it's why I'm trying to go out to the cinema at least once a week. But also, I still have to do that in a way that's not going to bankrupt me. So I'm taking advantage of cheap movie tickets on Tuesdays. And I'm taking advantage of, matinee showings, which those don't even exist anymore. Now it's like the first showing of a movie in the day is a little bit cheaper. Like, it doesn't matter if it's before 4 o'clock anymore.
Right.
So I have to put in work in order to do that, because I'm not interested in paying $20 to see Ella McCay. I'm not. I'm just not. Like, for a film that was shot in my state, that, like, my parents watched the filming of, so they wanted to see it and see what it was all about. Like, I was willing to pay what I paid. I paid $13 for my ticket to go see Ella McCay. That was what I was willing to pay. And even that was almost a bridge too far. But it's when it worked with my schedule, right? And to not pay more. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about the fact that, like, cinema is is just not in a great space right now. Sorry.
All right, man.
All right.
Well,
that was fun. That's fun on a bun. Anything else you want to talk about? This one feels like pretty solid stuff. I got Christmas stuff I got to do. But if there's anything else you wanted to make sure we touched on in this episode, or speak now or forever hold your peace.
talked about Avatar, talked about that. No, I think I'll be curious to talk about some gaming stuff when we come back for the new year and stuff.
Wow, I am on Dipsaluscious vacation right now. To quote my favorite line from the Family Guy's first Christmas episode. And part of that is a lot of finishing games. Because I'm in like the middle of 4 or 5 right now, and I'm tired of it. I got to go back to like one game at a time. All right. So thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. If you want to keep the conversation going, we have a Discord server that you'd be able to join. Invitations to do so are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Go there, go to the bio, click on the link, and you can join our Discord server. If you're not on social media, which no one at the Say Report's going to blame you for, considering everything that's going on, send an email to us directly, thesayreport@gmail.com. We can facilitate you with an invitation to join the Discord server. And if that's still like a bridge too far, that kind of seems like social media, then just communicate with us via email, right? It can be like we're pen pals in the 90s. The only thing is that if you're going to send an email to thesayreport@gmail.com, and it's for me, Devin Decker, or for him, Stephen Sarwick, put our name in the subject line so that it is distributed appropriately. Also, understand that anything that you send to us is open to be talked about on the show. Don't be surprised if you send something to Siege and then Siege is like, I got this really interesting email about somebody who told us how listening to the Say Report helped them finally finish Super Mario 64. We're going to talk about that. But if you only wanted to share it with Siege because you thought I might be a dick about it, I am sorry that's the image I've cultivated. But Siege wanted to share it on the show. He's allowed to do that because you gave us permission by submitting it. Whew, that's all that out of the way. You know what? There's one other thing that, just brief, and that is the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. There's still too much noise surrounding that. But, if you've been listening to the Say Report, if you've been paying attention, we are big fans of the work of Rob Reiner. Hell, we did a whole episode on The Princess Bride just for fun. Not even for any sort of, we're going to do an episode on The Princess Bride today. He big voice in our lives, and just thoughts are with everybody about that, right? It's hard to say thoughts are with the family because by all accounts it looks like his son is the one who murdered him. So
yeah, but I mean,
but again,
there's a lot of other people involved too that I feel awful about. I mean, Billy Crystal, and who else was it? There was apparently plans because it was a first night of Hanukkah, so people were gonna be there for a party and shit. It's
so
awful.
There's just so much going on about it. So rather than try to wade through all of the noise right now, just a minute from the Say Report to express rest in peace to Rob Reiner and to Michelle Singer Reiner. It's an incredibly sad and insane thing that happened. And when we know more, maybe we'll address it, or maybe we'll just let that one rest because Jesus, it's been a hell of a year. 2025 has been a hell of a year.
Yeah, but you know what? Go and look up him, Richard Belzer making him read the review for North. Oh my god,
we did a North episode. I forgot, right? Richard Belzer making him read that, and then the way that Rob Reiner plays it, God, fucking mixed nuts, right? Oh, jeez. All I can think of is stuff he was a big voice behind the Seinfeld of it all, being part of Castle Rock, so. Like, yeah. Take the time to remember Reiner if you're a fan, and if you've never seen it, we have given you plenty of suggestions of things to, like, be able to see who he was and why his untimely passing has affected so many people in this world. That said, we will see you next week for Ninjativity and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Please have a very healthy, happy holiday season. And without any further ado, William, please bring us home. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.